Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Johnny and Julie's terrifying discovery, Stefan's lawyer, Tate's in trouble. Days of Our Lives, DOOL, spoilers for Monday, April 15th, reveal that Johnny DiMera, Carson Boatman, and Chanel DiMera's, Raven Bowen's, honeymoon will remain awkward now that Julie Williams, Susan Seaforth Hayes, has inadvertently crashed it. Julie will end up hanging out with Chanel and Johnny as the snow really starts to come down outdoors. Unfortunately, Chanel will ever go missing in that snowstorm latterly, so Johnny and Julie will make an intimidating discovery as they realize she's gone. Coming on Monday's DOOL occasion, Stefan DiMera, Brandon Barish, will put Sloane Peterson Brady, Jessica Surfety, to work as his new attorney. Day spoilers say Stefan will count on Sloane to be a real wolf and make sure EJ DiMera, Dan Feuereagle, doesn't pull any tricks now that they've locked in a deal. Speaking of EJ, he'll move forward with his press conference plan and maybe advertise himself as the interim CEO of DiMera Enterprises, but that could bring all feathers of Enterprises about his part as DA and what LL be with that. Although EJ will essay to avoid journalists in the fate of this press conference, Chad DiMera, Billy Flynn, and Xander Cook, Paul Telfer, will have other plans as they force him to face some tough questions. Day spoilers say Xander could get some new Stefan suggestions and come convinced that Stefan is the one who framed him ultimately. Other day spoilers say Tate Black, Leo Howard, will land in further trouble with his parents, so look for Teresa Donovan, Emily O'Brien, and Brady Black, Eric Martsolf, to offer another warning about Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis. Brady and Teresa might figure out that Tate snuck off to meet up with Holly in the Domain lately, especially if Kayla Johnson, Mary Beth Evans, or Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Klein, let commodity slip. Anyhow, Brady and Teresa will take a firmer approach as they push Tate to steer clear of Holly for his own good. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Tate will end here, so he'll continue to sneak around with Holly and could get fractured again headlong. Our prognostications allude that Tate and Holly will land in further messes together, so stay tuned for updates on how their parents will reply to that news. Stefan's freedom and Chanel riddle begins. Days of Our Lives, DOOL, spoilers update for Monday, April 15th, reveals that Stefan DiMera, Brandon Barish, will turn to Sloane Peterson Brady, Jessica Surfety, for help, so she'll be in the motorist's seat when it comes to some new legal developments. Sloane will serve as Stefan's attorney, so she'll speed effects along when it comes to making him a free man again. Although Stefan will disaccord with EJ DiMera, Dan Feuereagle, while he awaits on the sanctioned ruling, Stefan will ultimately score his release. In the meantime, day spoilers say EJ's press conference will give him a chance to intimately apologize to Tate Black, Leo Howard, now that he's been cleared of all charges. Still, it'll be a weak reason that doesn't involve EJ condemning himself. EJ wouldn't take important responsibility for his own part in railroading Tate, but at least he'll admit that Tate's not at fault. Despite EJ's attempt to keep effects brief and reject questions from the press, day spoilers say Xander Cook, Paul Telfer, and Chad DiMera, Billy Flynn, will ultimately block EJ's path to push for some answers. Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis, will pop up in the city forecourt, so that LL give her a chance to show support for Tate. Although Holly will be glad Tate's been cleared intimately, she wouldn't be suitable to sputter with Tate for long. That's because Teresa Donovan, Emily O'Brien, and Brady Black, Eric Martsolf, will catch Tate and Holly together soon enough. Brady and Teresa will remind Tate that he's interdicted from interacting with Holly, so the teens will deal with another painful separation. Once Tate visits the cantina with Teresa and Brady, he'll want them to see that Holly isn't some monster. Teresa will substantially differ since Holly's miscalculations turned Tate's life upside down. Other day spoilers say Johnny DiMera, Carson Boatman, and Chanel DiMera, Raven Bowen's, will have a little cling session with Julie Williams, Susan Seaforth Hayes, since she accidentally joined their honeymoon. It's not like Julie can leave in the middle of this unanticipated snowstorm, so Chanel and Johnny will sputter with her as they all enjoy some hot cocoa and play some games. Our prognostications point to Chanel's exposure being part of Monday's DOOL thriller, so Johnny and Julie will realize they've misplaced track of her. Days of Our Lives spoilers say chancing Chanel will be tough in similar snowy conditions, so stay tuned for updates on all the shocking news ahead. Tate and Holly defiance, Steve searches, Ava covers, Stephanie stumped, Constantine story. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, April 11th indicate that Tate Black, Leo Howard, and Holly Jonas, Ashley Puzimis, haven't exactly been the lovebirds of the century considering she had to do medicines on their last date, but they've a secret fun and games. Steve Johnson, Stephen Nichols, continues to apologize. Ava Vitale, Tamara Braun, will snuggle with Harris Michaels, Steve Burton. Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Klein, is stumped, and Constantine Meliunis, John Capellos, spins another story. Holly Jonas and Tate Black defy their parents again suddenly. It seems now that they're interdicted to be together. The desire is just too important to handle. Is Holly just that into Tate after realizing that he tried to save her life and took the blame for her medicines? Is Holly just using Tate to get to her mama now that she has predicated her for her medicine crimes? Either way, that two of them will plan a romantic fun and games in the Domain and sneak out to meet in secret. Still, the Domain might not be the stylish place to plan on having any sequestration. Now that Tate gave Holly a burner phone so they can keep in touch, they will compass to decide what they can do to upset their parents and more. Seems like these two clearly took after their maters. DOOL spoilers. Steve Johnson's Reason tour. Steve will continue his Reason stint since it went over so well with Kayla Johnson, Mary Beth Evans. Of course, Steve and John Black, Drake Hodgson, were double-crossed by Ava, who always has to change the rules for every game. Ava is still stuck in this middle of Clyde Weston's James Reed drama. Meanwhile, rather of confessing to Harris that Clyde is making demands on her again, Ava will choose to snuggle up like nothing ever happened. Will Ava's decision lead to Harris' death, or will he end up leaving city in the end? Obviously, Ava cannot be trusted, so how can Harris be with her when she continues to lie? Days of Our Lives spoilers. Tate and Holly defiance, Steve searches, Ava covers, Stephanie stumped, Constantine story. Days of Our Lives spoilers. Stephanie Johnson is stumped. Stephanie has decided that she cannot be with Everett Lynch/Bobby Stein, Blake Barris, now that she know he and Jada Hunter, Elia Cantu, are still wedded. Everett refuses to subscribe his and Jada's divorce papers. When Bobby snaps at Stephanie, she's clearly taken suddenly. Is this the Bobby side that Jada was talking about? Constantine keeps coming up with way to wring plutocrat out of Maggie Kyriakis, Suzanne Rogers. Still, rather of leaving Salem as he should, Constantine is about to spin another sob story for Maggie. Will Julie Williams, Susan Seaforth Hayes, catch on to what Constantine is doing? Could Constantine be the way that Doug Williams, Bill Hayes, passes now if Constantine goes after Julie?